Hey, we're back.
We are.
This,
I'm Troy.
I'm Keith. You knew that. Uh,
Already.
Today is my topic. We're going to be discussing metalheads, style and perception. Now, this is something that I've brought up on Facebook on some of the local musician chats. Um, and it's this sort of what it is if you're a metalhead, you're you kind of dress a certain way. You have your metal t-shirts, you got your army boots, your fatigues, or your black pants, you got your makeup, your piercings, your goatees, your bald head, your long hair. Um, you never see a metalhead that's well, you do in the professional world. You'll see a metalhead that polo shirt, khaki pants. But what I'm saying is, if that guy's in a band and he's on stage, he's generally not on stage in his khaki pants and polo shirt. He's on stage in his big black long trench coat, with all his tats and piercings showing. What is that exactly? Is that necessary? Because the point I had made was metal and the music business in general claims to be anti-establishment for the most part, uh, non-conformist, if you will. Yet, if you're in that genre, you're almost expected to conform within that sort of block. You have that block of here's your metalheads, here's your punkers, here's your country, and it's like you're expected to conform within that. So, how do you conform in a non-conformist establishment?
Well, the question is, obviously, it's the need for conformity or at least perception of, I'm doing this because the other people that share this interest of mine do it. Um, I can remember when the Madonna craze first hit with a healthy sprinkling of Cyndi Lauper thrown in there for kind of that sort of trash chic look the girls were going for. And I remember one girl who looked identical to 7 or 8 other girls in line for a concert saying, well, what's the attraction to Madonna? And she says, it helps me being an individual.
It helps me be myself.
Right, it helps me be myself. And all of these other people that are being myself are being their self or something. I think with metal, I can speak more from a personal standpoint that heavy metal music unto itself is the music of the less likely to conform to all the other, well, cliques. In school, you had your jocks, they were popular, they were actually also very involved with school. You had your preppies, and you had your other people that were really more involved with the extracurricular functions of the school. So you had your band kids,
The chess club.
the chess club, the AV club,
I was in the photography club, but anyway.
and the people with whom I wanted the very least to do fell into most of those categories. So for me, it wasn't just that I happened to be a big fan at the time, especially of Ronnie Dio. Oh, you had your Iron Maiden. Oh, you had your Metallica. Um, it was more that I really liked that kind of music, and I genuinely hated most of the conformist kids. I was brought up in a strict kind of Southern Baptist upbringing, and long hair was looked on as just anathema. So of course, within a few years of taking guitar lessons, I had defiantly quit cutting my hair. Actually, in a private school, um, I think I went to a private Christian school for 4 months, the last 4 months of that school year, constantly told that my hair was too long, refusing to do anything about it, and my father just giving up on any having anything to say about it. So for some people, if they're not just, I mean, and I always said, well, yeah, and I am, because, I did play guitar and I was in mostly metal bands. People are like, why don't you get a haircut? And I'm like, because I don't want to look like those douchebags in Duran Duran. So identifying metal with a certain look is probably not so much the ideal as it is that a preference towards metal and a preference towards a look both dovetail back from a general contempt for mainstream society and acceptable music.
Ever since I became a musician, I've kind of been in the middle. I've never altered my. I've never dressed. Whatever group and music I was into at the time, I've hung out with a lot of different. I've hung out with country, guys that were into country music and played country music. I've hung out with the older crowd that were into, like your 50s and 60s bands, Marty Robbins, Jay and the Americans, stuff like that. And I've played, Lord knows, I've played everything from pretty much hell, even some old standards, 1590 till today. Let's put it that way. Um, Scottish Hit Parade. Anyway, um, and I have always dressed like me. I never felt the need to take on the yeah. Occasionally, I got into this thing in high school of dressing in black, but that was purely due to my own preference. It had nothing to do with any. Because honestly, in high school, I was really into '80s music. I was into Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel and stuff like that. And Lord knows, that there was no particular style of dress associated with that.
When I was to high school, I was really into 80s music too. Yeah,
Yeah, because he was in high school in the '80s. Anyway, moving right along. Anyhow, I've never felt the need to. You need to stop. I've never felt the need to conform to whatever group I was hanging. Like if I went out to had a number of pothead friends. If I went out to like a hippie pothead jam band show, I dressed like me. If I went out to a number of my metal friends, anything from progressive metal to like your more doom grind, whatever the hell is, whatever the devil kids are calling it now. I dress like me. I just which generally was just tennis shoes. Anywhere from Bermuda shorts to just like cargo shorts and a t-shirt. Um, and it wasn't intentional. It was not an intentional. I don't want to be. I don't want to conform. I wasn't a contrarian in that regard. I just at no point, especially after I became a musician, at no point was I made to feel by anyone um, like I was an outcast because I didn't dress like they did. I will say that for the most part, musicians are a fairly open minded and forgiving crowd. I could go to a Monolith show dressed. Hell, at one point in time, I had uh, this African print, like big baggy, African print pants, and I wore them because they were comfortable. They were basically pajama bottoms, but I would wear them out in public, and nobody really said anything to me. Um,
so you're at what kind of show with those pants?
No, the pothead show I'd fit right in, but I went out to like some rock and metal shows dressed like that, and nobody ever said anything to me.
No. Most metalheads are fairly accepting, and also that some of us also had already embraced a certain amount of irony. So if you went to a metal show, in the pants of MC Hammer, which is the only thing that African Prince, yeah, you can't touch that.
Well,
And you go to a metal show with that, it's going to be accepted as a type of irony. For a long time, I would go to metal clubs in my Pet Boys shirt because the least metal thing I could imagine was Manny Moe and Jack. Or I'd wear some kind of ironic, um, you know, superhero shirt until Anthrax spoiled it with jumping on the Judge Dredd bandwagon. So, yeah.
I never had an issue. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm going through all the many different shows I've been to, and yeah, at no point did anybody ever say anything to me other than, I mean, they may have commented on it, say, hey man, where'd you get those pants? But it wasn't like, you don't belong, you know. So, but getting back to the initial topic, there does seem to be. I've not seen anyone deliberately say you need to dress a certain way or you don't fit in, but there does seem to be this sort of central theme when it comes to musicians and especially metal. There's that theme of the black shirt, black pants, black boots, and other assorted accoutrements. So whether or not and take away from that what you will, and most of the people I've talked to about this, they say they dress that way because they like dressing that way, and I'm the same way. There's times when I'll deck myself out black, in black head to toe, and it's simply just I just it. Maybe it's a feeling of power. Who the hell knows?
Indeed.
All right. See you next time.